So ChatGPT, other AIs can reason. It seems like they can reason. They can make independent judgments. They produce results that were not programmed in. They kind of come to conclusions. They seem like they're alive. Are they alive? Is it alive?
No, and I don't think they seem alive, but I understand where that comes from. They don't do anything unless you ask, right? Like they're just sitting there kind of waiting. They don't have like a sense of agency or autonomy. It's the more you use them, I think the more the kind of illusion breaks. But they're incredibly useful. Like they can do things that maybe don't seem alive, but they do seem smart.
I spoke to someone who's involved at scale of the development of the technology who said they lie. Have you ever seen that?
They hallucinate all the time, yeah. Or not all the time. They used to hallucinate all the time. They now hallucinate a little bit.
What does that mean? What's the distinction between hallucinating and lying?
If you ask, again, this has gotten much better, but in the early days, if you asked, in what year was President, the made-up name, President Tucker Carlson of the United States born?
Mm-hmm.
What it should say is, I don't think Tucker Carlson was ever president of the United States.
Right.
But because of the way they were trained, that was not the most likely response in the training data. So it assumed I don't know that there wasn't. The users told me that there was President Tucker Carlson, so I'll make my best guess at a number. And we figured out how to mostly train that out. There are still examples of this problem, but I think it is something we will get fully solved, and we've already made, in the GPT-5 era, a huge amount of progress towards that.
But even what you just described seems like an act of will, or certainly an act of creativity. And so I just watched a demonstration of it, and it doesn't seem quite like a machine. It seems like it has the spark of life to it. Do you detect that at all?
So in that example, like the mathematically most likely answer as it's sort of calculating through its weights there was never this president. It was the user must know what they're talking about. It must be here. And so mathematically, the most likely answer is a number. Now, again, we figured out how to overcome that. But in what you saw there, I think it's like, I feel like I have to kind of like hold these two simultaneous ideas in my head. One is all of this stuff is happening because a big computer very quickly is multiplying large numbers in these big, huge matrices together. And those are correlating with words that are being put out, one or the other. On the other hand, the subjective experience of using that feels like it's beyond just a really fancy calculator. And it is useful to me, it is surprising to me in ways that are beyond what that mathematical reality would seem to suggest.
Yeah. And so the obvious conclusion is it has a kind of autonomy or a spirit within it. And I know that a lot of people in their experience of it reach that conclusion. There's something divine about this. There's something that's bigger than the sum total of the human inputs. And so they worship it. There's a spiritual component to it. Do you detect that? Have you ever felt that?
No, there's nothing to me at all that feels divine about it or spiritual in any way. But I am also like a tech nerd, and I kind of look at everything through that lens.
So what are your spiritual views?
I'm Jewish, and I would say I have like a fairly traditional view of the world that way.
So you're religious? You believe in God?
I'm not like a literal. I'm not like a literalist on the Bible, but I'm not someone who says like I'm culturally Jewish. Like if you ask me, I would just say I'm Jewish.
But do you believe in God? Like, do you believe that there is a force larger than people that created the earth, set down a specific order for living, that there's an absolute morality attached that comes from that God?
I think probably like most other people, I'm somewhat confused on this, but I believe there is something bigger going on than, can be explained by physics, yes.
So you think the earth and the people were created by something? It wasn't just like a spontaneous accident?
Would I say that? It does not feel like a spontaneous accident, yeah. I don't think I have the answer. I don't think I know like exactly what happened, but I think there is a mystery beyond my comprehension here going on.
Have you ever felt communication from that force or from any force beyond people? Hate to brag, but we're pretty confident this show is the most vehemently pro-dog podcast you're ever going to see. We can take or leave some people, but dogs are non-negotiable. They are the best. They really are our best friends. And so for that reason, we're thrilled to have a new partner called Dutch Pet. It's the fastest growing pet telehealth service. Dutch.com is on a mission to create what you need, what you actually need, affordable, quality veterinary care anytime, no matter where you are. They will get your dog or cat what you need immediately. It's offering an exclusive discount, Dutch is, for our listeners. You get $50 off your vet care per year. Visit Dutch.com/Tucker to learn more. Use the code Tucker for $50 off. That is an unlimited vet visit. $82 a year, $82 a year. We actually use this. Dutch has vets who can handle any pet under any circumstance in a 10-minute call. It's pretty amazing, actually. You never have to leave your house. You don't have to throw the dog in the truck. No wasted time waiting for appointments, no wasted money on clinics or visit fees, unlimited visits and follow-ups for no extra cost, plus free shipping on all products for up to 5 pets. It sounds amazing, like it couldn't be real, but it actually is real. Visit Dutch.com/Tucker to learn more. Use the code Tucker for $50 off your veterinary care per year. Your dogs, your cats, and your wallet will thank you. Beyond the material?
No, not really.
I ask because it seems like the technology that you're creating or shepherding into existence will have more power than people. On this current trajectory, I mean, that will happen. Who knows what will actually happen, but like the graph suggests it. And so that would give you, more power than any living person. So I'm just wondering how you see that.
I used to worry about something like that much more. I think what will happen, I used to worry a lot about the concentration of power in one or a handful of people or companies because of AI.
Yeah.
What it looks like to me now, and again, this may evolve again over time, is that it'll be a huge up-leveling of people where everybody will be a lot more powerful, or everybody that embraces the technology will be a lot more powerful. But that's actually okay. That scares me much less than a small number of people getting a ton more power. If the kind of like ability of each of us just goes up a lot because we're using this technology and we're able to be more productive and more creative or discover new science, and it's a pretty broadly distributed thing, like billions of people are using it, that I can wrap my head around. That feels okay.
So you don't think this will result in a radical concentration in power?
It looks like not, but again, the trajectory could shift again and we'd have to adapt. I used to be very worried about that, and I think the kind of conception a lot of us in the field had about how this might go could have led to a world like that. But what's happening now is tons of people use ChatGPT and other chatbots, and they're all more capable. They're all kind of doing more. They're all, able to achieve more, start new businesses, come up with new knowledge, and that feels pretty good.
So if it's nothing more than a machine and just the product of its inputs, then the two obvious questions, like what are the inputs? Like what's the moral framework that's been put into the technology? Like what is right or wrong according to ChatGPT?
Do you want me to answer that one first?
I would.
Question?
Yeah.
So on that one, someone said something early on in ChatGPT when that really has stuck with me, which is one person at a lunch table said something like, we're trying to train this to be like a human, like we're trying to learn like a human does and read these books and whatever. And then another person said, no, we're really like training this to be like the collective of all of humanity. We're reading everything. We're trying to learn everything. We're trying to see all these perspectives. And if we do our job right, all of humanity, good, bad, a very diverse set of perspectives, some things that we'll feel really good about, some things that we'll feel bad about, that's all in there. Like this is learning the kind of collective experience, knowledge, learnings of humanity. Now, the base model gets trained that way, but then we do have to align it to behave one way or another and just say, I will answer this question, I won't answer this question. And we have this thing called the model spec where we try to say, here are the rules we'd like the model to follow. It may screw up, but you could at least tell if it's doing something you don't like, is that a bug or is that intended? And we have a debate process with the world to get input on that spec.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.